Lord Cybertruck presents. Hello there, and welcome back to the start of a brand new series. This series will be about aviation and whatnot. This is just stuff I happen to know offhand, and I probably won't fact check anything, so there's that. First off, we have here the McDonnell Douglas DC-8. This particular one is a DC-8-71F. In these videos, I will talk about airplanes, helicopters, their companies, etc., and just fly the aircraft or whatever. So let's start. To start out with, the first time the DC-8 flew was in 1958, and it was released for purchase in 1959. And the first flights were United Airlines and Delta Airlines at the same time. Other airlines that used this aircraft were Pan Am and Lufthansa Cargo and DHL, Air Transport International, which is one that I'm in right now. And let's see. In the 1980s, this aircraft got an engine upgrade, which was also used on the Boeing 707s and KC-135s. The engine is called the CFM 56-2. Newer versions of that particular engine were used on the 737 Classics and new generation, the A320s, and the older A340 models, and that's all I can think of at the moment. Uh-oh. I'm going to do a landing in this aircraft. Let's see. Okay, 2 is reverse thruster. Reverse thruster is simply a way to make the aircraft land easier, because it slows. It's like the engine is on, but it goes backwards instead of forwards. Or I mean, it comes out this way instead of the other way. The last passenger flight of the DC-8 was in 2013 with this same particular airline on the Dash 63 model or 61, I forget which. It was what's known as a combi, which is half passenger and half cargo. This is actually my favorite airplane, as a matter of fact, the DC-8. I unfortunately have never seen one in person before. Hopefully one day I can see one. Later on, the DC-10 came along, and there's several things that the DC-10 had that the DC-8 also has. Like, it was not necessarily developed from, but lots of things are taken from it. That's where the cargo goes. Here is a passenger DC-8 in use with Eastern Airlines. Apparently whoever built this did not add reverse thrusters to this aircraft. Many airlines who had the DC-8 and the Boeing 707 said that their DC-8s were better than the 707 because it is bigger and it can carry more people too, and it can carry more cargo, and it is still used today. And NASA still uses their DC-8. It had a 707, but they retired it in 2004, and it was used, before it was retired for, like the vomit comet sort of thing, where astronauts would train in. It would simulate a zero gravity environment. This thing here is called a jet bridge, which is usually how passengers get from inside the terminal into the aircraft. I have a picture that I took that shows this jet bridge. This is a picture I took on February 2nd, 2019 on Thurgood Marshall, Baltimore, Washington International Airport, of an Alaska Airlines Boeing 737 that's connected to a jet bridge here. because they go from inside the terminal into the aircraft like that. And it was snowing at this time when I took the picture. Oh, look at that. There's an MD-88 right there, I think. And this is a Tug Tractor. It's actually very expensive to operate, like $100 per minute. But what it does is it brings the aircraft out of the gate. This, I'm pretty sure, is a ground power unit, which is how it turns on the aircraft without using the engines. These are the engines. These here contain luggage which go inside. Oh, the reason why this 747 is so close to the ground, because back in the 60s, they made it so that, because there was barely any jet bridges, you know, so, they made it close to the ground, that way they could use stairs to get in. It's very close to the ground, which is why they have flat bottoms on the 737. And that gas truck right there is pumping fuel into the wing. Alright, now back to the DC-8. Here are some pictures I downloaded of the DC-8. This here is a DHL, the DC-8-73F. Oops. But yeah, it has the CFM56-2 engines. This is the same model. This is the DC-8-72 that NASA uses. They flew over Antarctica with this airplane in 2016. And it's used for Earth science. German cargo eventually became Lufthansa. And never DHL. Air Canada Cargo also used them. This is the one I was just flying a few minutes ago. This one here. Same kind. This is a Lufthansa cargo. Delta Airlines retired their DC-8s in 1989. And United retired theirs in 1991. This is one of their first DC-8s back in the 50s. This was never in the DC-8 in the late 80s. There's a Lockheed L-1049 right here, TriStar, and Boeing 727. Yeah, pretty sure. DC-8 of DHL. This one here is still in service, I think. This one still flies. That is an older DC-8, and this is IL-62. The U.S. Navy used one, but not for very long. Another example of a passenger one. NASA's. Another DHL. UPS retired theirs in 2009. Fun fact, it was their very first aircraft back in 1988. It was this. DC-8. NASA's again. This is a private example, meaning that it's privately owned. This was one that was used until about like 10 years ago in Brazil. The airline went bankrupt. And not too long ago there was an auction to buy this aircraft. This one, another example, the one I was flying. NASA's, another DHL. I honestly don't know who used this one. This aircraft here was the predecessor. I just painted it in a weird color. And this is a successor, the DC-9, which the DC-9 has 3 generations: the DC-9, MD-80 series, and MD-90 series. The MD-95, aka the Boeing 717, is still flying for Qantas, Delta, and Hawaiian Airlines today. Delta Airlines retired their MD-88s and MD-90s last year during the pandemic. I was fortunate to see them in March of last year and in January of last year. I've been on an MD-88 but never an MD-90. This is a successor, DC-10. Lots of things are taken from the, it's not a very good one, DC-8. Such as, like, instruments in a cockpit. And the DC-10 got stretched some into the MD-11. New winglets, and I think this whole area got a little shorter, and the aircraft fuselage was stretched. This is an example of KLM's MD-11 that they retired in 2014 on a flight from Montreal, Canada to Amsterdam, Netherlands. Fun fact, KLM does not have any domestic routes with the exception of the Dutch Caribbean territories like Aruba, Curacao, and Sint Maarten. Sint Maarten is that island, the beach that right next to the airport. I have pictures I will show. They are not my pictures, but they're Dutch style pictures. This is an Air France Airbus A340 over the beach, which I believe is called Maho Beach. I could be wrong about that. And here's another Air France aircraft, the 747 let's see, maybe the Dash 300. I don't know. The Dash 200 and Dash 300 are very similar. France and the Netherlands controlled this island about half evenly. So there's lots of French and Dutch flights there. Another picture of Air France 747-300. And lastly, this McDonnell Douglas MD-82 based in Curacao, which is part of the Netherlands Caribbean territory, is landing at Sint Maarten SXM Airport. SXM is the airport code. That way, for instance, let's say you're taking a flight from Paris Charles de Gaulle Airport, is where it starts from, and it goes to Sint Maarten SXM. Well, thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you liked it enough so that I can make another video. The next one will be about the actually, you know what, the most comments for a particular aircraft type, I'll make a video about. For instance, if you want a 707 video, I'll make it, or MD-11 or MD-88, whatever. Just put it in the comment section which one you want me to make next. Well, anyways, have a nice day. Have a nice day or night wherever you live. And thanks for watching.